Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tally. This is episode 32, and I'm your host, Brian Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of some of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. Be sure to like and share the program as well. You can also support the program by going to Anchor FM or Spotify and clicking the support button. Folks, I want to tell you about Patriot Home Services. Are you looking for a reliable contractor who stands by his work and who is an on-time and on-budget contractor? Then look no further than Patriot Home Services. Patriot Home Services is located in the Woodlands, Texas, and offers a wide array of services. Cody Dawson, the owner, is a hands-on contractor who will follow through on your project and will leave you having perhaps the best contracting experience you've ever had. Whether you need home additions, remodels, outdoor patios and kitchens, flooring, painting, and much more. One call does it all, 720-745-2568. Or visit them online at patriothomeservicesllc.com. That's patriothomeservicesllc.com. Folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. We are honored to be joined by Lori Keeton, a wake surfer who holds the world record for wake surfing for nearly 15 hours straight. That's right, folks, the Guinness Book of World Records. Lori is a champion to the veteran and military community as she hosts events for Wake for Warriors, a nonprofit organization that connects our nation's warriors by sharing the healing power of the water. Lori has been wake surfing for 17 years and has taught hundreds of people to wake surf. On June 8th, 2021, she crushed the previous Guinness World Record for the longest consecutive surf time of 8 hours. On September 7th and 8th, yes, just last week, she surfed 14 hours, 48 minutes, and 45 seconds, breaking her last world record. What an amazing and inspiring woman you are, and it is our honor to be joined by Lori Keeton this morning. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
The honor is all mine, and the honor is all these veterans and all these just everyday people out there that are listening right now and are going to be looking for some good inspiration, from you, who is truly a champion in the community.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, we got a lot to talk about here this morning, so let's get started. Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
Yes, I actually grew up on a horse farm in Danville, Indiana. And grew up doing chores and driving tractors and just everything that goes with living on a farm. I was in charge of the daily chores of feeding the animals and the livestock and things of that. So I had a pretty busy childhood, growing up.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of folks out there who know you as Lori Keeton, the world record holder, the wake surfer, the person that gives back to the community with Wake for Warriors. Let's learn a little bit about the entrepreneur that you are, and life as your own boss. I think that oftentimes gets set aside because you have so many other amazing accomplishments. Can you tell us a little bit about the business that you own?
Yes, I own a retail flooring store. So we do all types of flooring. We offer installation also. It keeps me pretty busy. I generally work 50 to 60 hours a week at my regular job at my business. On top of that, I train for Guinness World Records, and I hosted over 9 events this summer for veterans, teaching them, veterans and active military, teaching them behind my boat to do water sports. And it is tough to balance between all of it. I also, have had a really intense schedule with CrossFit and working out. So on top of that, sleep has been a minimum all summer. I I haven't had much sleep this summer.
Absolutely. I was laying in bed the other night. It was like 10:30 at night, and I'm getting ready to go to bed, and it says, "Oh, Lori's alive right now." And I'm like, "Wow, it's dark, and they're out there. They got lights on the water. You're out there surfing on the water in Indiana." And I'm like, "Holy cow, she doesn't stop." You're like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, I love it. I mean, you've got so much energy in you to go out and constantly, put in the 50 to 60 hours a week at your paying job, and then still find that reserve energy to go out there and compete in the Guinness Book of World Records, and as well as give so much of your time, the time off that you have, to give back to veterans in the military. It's commendable what you do, and doing all of this. How do you balance that work, volunteer, and play life?
It can be tough at times. So as it was getting closer to my Guinness World Record and my training surf times were increasing, as far as once I got up to once I started getting over 8 hours for my training surfing, that definitely cuts into a lot of my time. It was tough to balance everything, and still hosting events and things like that with veterans and military. So there was a lot. It was a lot of scheduling. I don't know how I pulled through, but I did.
You're a warrior. No wonder why you give back to Wake for Warriors. It's almost like you are the warrior in charge, and you're there to inspire and motivate other warriors that join you on your beautiful boat on that beautiful lake in your hometown. Now, let's go back a little bit. You've been doing this for 17 years. You've been a wake surfer. How did you get into wake surfing?
So I had actually was just going to take a lesson to wakeboard, and someone that rode for Team Nautique, and gave lessons locally. I went out on his boat, and at the end of the day, at the end of wakeboarding, he said, "I got one more thing I want to show you." And he pulled out a surfboard, and he showed me surfing. And for the first time ever, I surfed behind his boat, and I threw the rope and actually surfed the whole distance of the lake without falling. And he kept asking, "How many times have you done this before?" I said, "This is the first time I've ever even seen it. Like, this is first time. It's all new to me." But it just came very natural to me, and I knew immediately that I was gonna need to get an Nautique boat, and was going to have to become a surfer as soon as I saw it.
So I got a question. Do you have to have a certain type of boat to create that wave, that wake behind it?
You do. So the boats that they have now all have water ballast in them. So you can pump water into the boat. It helps kind of make the boat ride lower in the water, which makes the wave form up bigger. And yes, there's the boat that I have currently is very specific, for surfing, and it just creates a huge wave. I can surf 3 surfers on it at the same time. So it's a
Wow.
big wave.
That's intense. And out in Indiana, you don't have those waves, so I guess you got to create your own if you want to surf, huh?
Right. And it spoils you, because once you get used to a wave that is there as long as you want it to be, when you go out to the ocean, 15 minutes would be a long time to stand up to surf. Whereas when I go out, I'm looking to get hours when I go out.
Look, I grew up in Southern California, and I grew up cutting it up in OB and PB and Mission Beach, and splitting the pier as a young kid, jumping off the pier when the surf was high, because I couldn't paddle out. And I'd surf for 45 minutes to an hour total. And that was with, sitting and waiting on, for the sets to come in. And I mean, literally, you're out here 15 hours doing this on one sitting. And look, I was at where the waves come naturally. And, here in Texas, they have a surf ranch. And it looks like you've kind of created your own surf ranch out there in Indiana on the lake. And that's just incredible, what you've done out there. Now, I want to know a little bit about what it was like. Okay, so you already have the world record of, I believe it was for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And just this last week, you were going for 24 hours.
Yes.
And you ended up going for nearly 15, just a few minutes short of 15 hours. What was that conversation like that you had within your own mind saying, hey, Lori, I want to go for 24 hours? And how did you respond to that? Like, all right. Or, I mean, was this something that you've been planning for quite some time? Or is this something that you just woke up with like a couple of weeks ago? And we're like, you know what? It's time. I'm going to go for a 24.
I really have been training for quite a while to do 24 hours and had every intentions of doing it on September 7th and 8th. I actually got cold. So it got down to 54 degrees at night. And I did not a wetsuit, and I started having some hypothermia set in. So I pushed it about 3 hours after I started feeling really cold. But I ended up losing total control of my muscles and my legs. And was not able to finish. So I should have had more warm gear and wetsuit and things like that for night. I underestimated how cold it was going to get. So it's been in the 90s, during the day, and then it just dipped considerable. It was much colder at night than what it had been all summer. So I just kind of miscalculated that a little bit. That definitely played a part in me not getting the 24 hours. I learned a lot from it.
Still crushed
Right.
your old record, doubled it. I mean, that's just, folks, try going on a walk for an hour, let alone wake surf for 15 hours, and it went into the night. I believe she started this in the afternoon, guys, and she went into the night, deep into the night. And how does your feet don't cramp, your legs, is there food that you can eat when you're doing this to kind of re-energize?
I did have them hand me out food and drinks, and that definitely helped. As far as getting cramps and things like that, I just have to move around on the surfboard enough to keep blood flow and circulation, and it's tough. I mean, it's not the most comfortable thing you could do, that's for sure.
What a warrior. I mean, and the wakeboard it's not very large. I mean, we're talking, this is little. You talk about, we're moving around on it. What are you doing? Handstands even?
The board that I use is 3 foot 10 inches, so it's actually less than 4 foot, and
unreal.
It's pretty small, and I can't touch it with my hands. So that's a rule from Guinness. Only my feet, so I can't sit down or touch the surfboard with my hands.
Yeah, folks, and this was the real deal. She had 3 judges from the Guinness Book of World Records on her boat, and they were witnessing this history, and it was very impressive. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll a clip real fast for our viewers.
Free for you tonight. A listed woman is now a Guinness World Record holder.
At least in the world, has gone on record as doing surfing on the water for 24 straight hours.
That's amazing. She's going to do it on Raccoon Lake in western Indiana.
Last year when I set the 8-hour record, I more than tripled the women's record and more than doubled the men's record. This year's a little bit different record, so I will be surfing for every 4 hours. I actually get a 10-minute break, so I'll be able to transition boats every 10 minutes.
Nice. And you'll have 3 Guinness World Record judges coming out. You have your brand new boat to wake surf on. Kind of talk about why you're doing this.
So I'm doing this for a nonprofit that I'm fundraising for, and that I also host events for. It's called Wake for Warriors. And they take veterans out and active military and teach them water sports. So we share our love for water sports with military.
That's awesome. And you've been doing this for 17 years.
Yes.
You're practically a professional at this point. Kind of talk about also just why you love doing this so much. And you said you don't get paid for this. Everything goes back to Wake for Warriors, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So I started out last year. I was just going to fundraise for Wake for Warriors, and then I just fell in love with what they were doing for veterans and decided that it was something I needed to be a part of. So I've hosted 9 events this summer already for veterans and active military, and I just want to do more.
Folks, you heard it right there in the interview. She does not get paid anything for this. She does this for the good of the country after she spends 50 to 60 hours a week working her paying job. Her paying job to put fuel in that boat, and her time and her energy and her knowledge to give back to a population that is a vulnerable population, to give these veterans and these military personnel some life back that they may have lost due to post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression. Folks, you name it. And she has created this place for veterans to go to give them that sort of joy and that peace back in their lives. And I've seen it on these veterans' faces. I actually know a veteran that just went through the program. And what it has done for him is nothing short of a miracle. I'm talking, so happy and so peaceful and so joy that they can learn how to do this sport and connect with the water in ways that they may have never connected with the water before, and actually learn from one of the best in the world, probably the best in the world. So folks, this is something that is absolutely just so inspiring. Now, I want to know, Lori, what inspired you to start wanting to volunteer for this program, Wake for Warriors?
Well, because I decided that I was going to do my first Guinness World Record, surfing 8 hours. And as I started doing more research I was going to just fundraise for Wake for Warriors. And as I started doing the more research on everything that they do for veterans and how involved they get and how it's like an extended family. And I decided that I actually wanted to be a part of it. So I went to my first event last summer, and then I went all in. So I started hosting. I had 9 events this summer, just all over, just lakes and different types of setups. Some were larger events, some were smaller events. And I hosted events for veterans and active military, so both.
What's it like connecting with these warriors?
Oh, I love hearing their stories and just different things that they've went through in life, and different challenges or things to be able to share what I love with them, and to see how they take to the water sports and all of that. Hopefully we're able to offer them an experience that they normally wouldn't be able to, any other way, and give them something else that they can look forward to and be a part of and participate in.
When they show up, from the time that they get there, from the time that they leave, do you notice a change in them?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of them are hesitant to come at first, as far as to sign up. And then if we get them to sign up after the first day or so, they really warm up to everything that we have going on, and just they can't wait to come back to another event, and they want to do more, basically.
Mm-hmm. So is this something that they can do as many times as they want, or is, they can only come, up to say 3 times, or how does that work?
Um, I'm not actually the one that actually filters who gets to go to the events,
Hmm.
but they recommend that you sign up because they might have one event that they have a lot of people signing up for. So they might have more veterans than what they have as spaces for riders. So they recommend to sign up for more than one. And then if a lot of times people will get to go to more than one for the year.
So, I mean, you become an ambassador, I mean, if you will, to Wake for Warriors. I mean, and again, a tremendous champion to the veteran and military community. Do they have other events across the country that also partake in this, or is this strictly in Indiana with you?
No, they're actually, I hate to misquote, but they had over 100 events this year.
Oh,
So
wow.
throughout the country. So they're in several different states. So if you know of anyone that would be a local or would be a veteran all over the country, that they could look up Wake for Warriors. They host events all over. And the good thing is it's all free to the veterans and military. There is no charge for it. So we provide
Hmm.
food, lodging, boat, equipment, gear, just everything that's needed. And we also provide a fun atmosphere to learn stuff. That's something.
I know you give back. Again, your 50 to 60 hour work week. That right there is enough to make a person want to sit on the couch all weekend to just recover from that. But you take it a step further and you get out there and you really work hands on with these veterans. And I know how the veterans and the military folks. I know how they feel when they leave. But how does Lori feel after this event? Can you describe the emotions that you may feel for doing something that is bigger than yourself?
It is the most satisfying thing I've ever been a part of. Um, I cannot relate it to anything that I've ever done. I've never done anything that I just really believe it's exactly what God wants me to be doing with my life. It just gives my life a purpose. I mean, I'm a huge patriot. I love our military. It gives me a chance to give back and to share something that I already love with them. So it just it's a very nice. It's it's as much for me as it is for them. I mean, I feel like I take so much away from it. I've made so many good friends, and just it's just been an incredible experience for me.
I love that. You say, I'm on a mission and God has put this on my heart. And I have answered that call to service. And you say you want more. You want to help more. And that right there really speaks, to your character, on how important this is and how rewarding this true act of, I mean, heroism on your part of volunteering and giving so much back. Now, when you're hosting these veterans, it's therapeutic for them.
Mhm.
And one thing I'm taking away from this interview, it's also therapeutic for you.
It is.
Can you share maybe some of the moments you've had with some of these veterans and the military, that has maybe changed your life and has maybe given you some new perspective?
I have been able to teach, through the events, double amputees, different people with prosthetic legs. It's challenged me to adapt, to learn new ways to teach and to share the water sports. And I had a gentleman that was at one of my events this summer that up because of pressure on it. It was too much pressure for his hips. So I actually taught him to lay down and surf, just to lay down on the surfboard. So there's just several there's just so many different ways to adapt and to teach, and it's challenged and taught me new skills and abilities, and I'm able to interact with them to see, what they're able to do as far as movements, and then we kind of adjust based off of that. So it's it's been really challenging and rewarding all at the same time.
You sound like a Marine. You're like, adapt, overcome, improvise, adaptability. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get you out there. I'm going to get you surfing. It doesn't matter if you're an amputee or a double amputee or a triple amputee. It doesn't matter. You are going to be on that board, and Lori will get you that ride of your life, perhaps. And again, bringing so much joy back to a community, again, that is a vulnerable community, and for you to give back so much of your time and your resources, is truly, again, it is admirable. And I've said this 100 times, but I've got to, when people do something like this, again, for the good of the country, you need to be recognized for what you're doing, because a lot of people, let's face it, they just stay on the sidelines and they don't help. They don't do anything with their resources, but you do. God has put that on your heart, and I know it'll come back to you tenfold, because you're doing God's work. I mean, let's face it. How can our listeners connect with you and help support Wake for Warriors?
So we have a website that you can donate at, wakeforwarriors.org. And so that is one way. Another way is you can help share our story, and by sharing this podcast or just anything related to the Wake for Warriors, to tell a veteran, if you know of one that would like to be a part. Our goal is to reach everyone. Obviously, we need more manpower to do that, but as we grow, like we are continually growing into more states every year. So
hey, you heard it there, folks. If you have a boat, if you have a speedboat that can make the wake, contact wakeforwarriors.org and see how you can become a volunteer and ambassador to this great organization that gives back to the veteran and military community. With that, we are honored to have you on the program today. And it sincerely means so much to me and to our listeners to get it straight from you, a world-class athlete and a champion to the veteran and military community.
Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate everything you do. Your service, your sacrifice, and dedication is truly commendable. Until next time, folks, this is Brian Talley. Good night, Semper Fi, and God bless.